What's your name, sir?
My name is Anthony Williams. I'm a member of Housing Our Neighbors.
And what brings you here today?
Discuss. A lot of discuss.
Discuss about what?
About $500 million going to someone that's already a billionaire. Kevin Plank, a matter of fact, that owns Under Armour.
Are you talking about the Harbor Point TIF?
Yeah, and the Port Covington TIF that they get ready to sign onto.
I'm sorry, I meant Port Covington.
Yes.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, which is a shame.
They're doing Port Covington tonight, though.
Oh yes, they're doing Port Covington tonight. So we're here to say that we're disgusted and that we can't stand it anymore, and we're not going to take it anymore, and we're going to continue to fight and follow the money. Follow the money. Follow the money. See all these folks that's getting these handouts, like Build, SB6. Let's see how far that money is going to take them. We work together here as a coalition. All of us came together for the purpose of getting help for all of Baltimore, getting support for all of Baltimore. But instead, when we were in negotiations with the city and with Sagamore, a few groups decided to drop out of the picture and take a handout. That's what we call that, a handout. Because we want, Baltimore needs all the help they could possibly get, right? We got abandoned properties all over the city, right? We got infrastructure. Our infrastructure is falling apart every day. Buildings are falling on people. Streets are caving in. Here in Baltimore City, if you drive around Baltimore City, 50% of the time you're going to get tied up in traffic because they're doing some kind of work. We want Baltimore schools to have money. We also want jobs, and what they're offering us is not what we were asking for.
What were you asking for?
We were asking for 51%, right, of hires from Baltimore City to work at Port Covington. We were also asking for 20% of affordable housing across the board here in Baltimore City, not only on the property of Port Covington, but also throughout the neighborhoods in Baltimore City. Because what you have is special interest people that come in through the back door, right, while we negotiating and while we setting our bills for it, they come and say, well, you know, our bill is better, right? Our bill is better. And then what they do is they continue to rob and steal from the poor. This is, look at the homeless problem. We have over 2,500 any given night homeless people in the streets.
So what were you hoping come out of this before the coalition walked away?
Well, what we were hoping to come out of this was that we get a fair deal for all of Baltimore City, not just for individual groups in certain pockets of the city, but for everybody, for all of Baltimore. And particularly, we came to the table, Housing Our Neighbors, specifically for affordable housing coming out of this TIF to provide housing for the thousands of homeless people and those who are going to potentially become homeless. We are fighting on that front, and that front is what we stand for, housing. Housing is a human right for all of us. Why is it that one person can ask for $660 million, $500 million from Baltimore City, and people just look at it like, oh, it's no big deal? I mean, even Graciano said Baltimore City can't afford to pay $180 million for affordable housing. So he left it up to Sagamore to put that deal forth. And what Sagamore does, it says, all we can afford to do is 10%.
Now, this bill is likely to, well, this series of bills is likely to pass tonight. What's the next step after that?
Follow the money, okay? When these organizations get these funds and money, we should be very vigilant to follow Build, to also follow what's going on in South Baltimore, SB6, and make sure that if that money isn't being spent what it was intended for, I think that Sagamore should even pay more in penalties, because they've done everything they could possibly could do to use loopholes, right, so that they don't have to afford to pay affordable housing. The only reason why they said this, because when Graciano made a deal with Sagamore, right, to exempt them from affordable housing, right, which is inclusionary housing. Well, inclusionary housing is for them to do at least 30% of the area income, right, that people can afford, making under $26,000. At this point, it's going to be 80,000, right, for anybody to live over there. They have to make that a year, and then even dropping it down to 65,000, we can't afford that. Even if they drop it down to 50,000, we can't afford that. We want them to create affordable housing for those who are mostly in need in Baltimore City. This is what we're asking for. We are so upset at this to the point where, we're not losing hope in the system, but the system is failing us. They're really failing us, especially for housing, for jobs. Where's the humanity, right? You walk past people sleeping in the streets every day. That's, what's wrong with creating affordable housing? Even the working homeless. There's working homeless people in this city that can't afford to get a place to live. And what they keep doing is targeting our subsidies, taking money out of the mouths of those who mostly need it here in Baltimore.
All right, thanks a lot.